Hey, what's going on YouTube? I know it's been a few weeks since I said anything or posted a video or whatever. I took a couple weeks off for Thanksgiving. Drove up and saw some family for about 5, 6 days. I don't get to see them very often. But I have been reading the comments that have come through and tried to respond to a few of them. Um, I'm back out and running. There was a comment made on the pay stub video that I did on like what an average week typically looks like to hit that kind of revenue. And usually when I do those kinds of runs, um, it's usually only one or two loads that whole week, and I end up with revenue like that. Don't really have to do a whole lot, which I like the longer hauls. There's a lot less running around throughout the week for me, having to get from place to place and then time frames and delays at shippers or receivers. So for me, it works easier that way. But so yeah, about 1 to 2 loads a week typically is how that averages out. I know the freight market's been all over the damn place, um, but still, with that being said, I'm out. I'm in Nebraska right now, headed west to California on I-80, and it's been um, 2 loads, same thing, 2 loads all week long, and we're gonna hit revenue of 7,500, which should put us after my fuel and all the expenses should put us right at about 2,900 to 3,100 take home. That's after truck payment, fuel, all that stuff. Um, so once again, 2 loads all week long, knocked it out, hitting those revenue marks. Most guys like to stay out for go home every 2 weeks, that kind of thing. I'd love to do that, but where I live in West Virginia, it's kind of a pain in the ass, and the freight market on the east is being real. Uh, well, it's being a pain in the ass, honestly. Rates where during the summer we would come from like South Carolina up to Ohio somewhere during the summer months during the pandemic, we're paying about 2,500 to 2,800, and they're trying to sell the same fucking loads for 13, 1,400. So Tim and I, my dispatcher, pretty much said to hell with doing these short runs. We're going to go back to doing what we were doing, which was these long hauls from coast to coast. So that's what we're doing. And as soon as we made that decision, we picked up this load headed west and finished up our week basically. I'll get there Friday morning at some point. Today's Wednesday, I think. Um, and yeah, I mean, I hope whoever it was, I don't remember names. I hardly remember my own name. Um, but whoever it was that asked that, that's pretty typical. And then I saw another comment on there of someone who didn't have flatbed experience and didn't want a tarp. Well, if that's the case, then not really too sure why you're even looking at this stuff. I know Nova requires at least 2 years flatbed experience or close to it. Most of the time they'll work with you if you're like right there at that 2 year mark. Um, like I said before, if you're coming over here for orientation, don't show up for a drug test and have a dirty, urine in your system or whatever. If you've been doing drugs, stay away. Stay far away. You're giving the rest of us a bad rep, and we don't need it. You're going to waste your time, their money, just to fly you out there or drive you up there, sit in orientation all week, and fail a damn drug test and then have to go home. That's just stupid. Um, yeah, that's just beyond ridiculous. But I'm gonna start doing because, like I said, I just got back from the holiday. I'm not going home for Christmas only because don't really need to. My wife and I are cool with it. We're gonna do our little Christmas thing after. Um, and with West Virginia being the way that it is right now, our governor's closing down and locking everything down anyway, so we can't really do much. So we're just going to wait till after. We're going to go do our own little Christmas thing when I get back home. I'm staying out till January 22nd, and then I'm going home for a little bit. That's our 1-year wedding anniversary, so kind of can't miss that. It'll be my ass if I do. Other than that, you know, stay safe out there, guys. I saw something in the news down in Florida. There were 3 drivers that were pulled out of their trucks by masked men, and I'm pretty sure they were beaten to death and killed down in Florida. And then at the time of making this, California, as far as I'm understanding it, went back down into mandatory stay-at-home orders and all that other fun stuff. So, I mean, that sucks, and that kind of hinders the process too. But hopefully with these vaccines rolling out, everything will kind of go back to how it used to be, which would be honestly pretty damn great. I'm waiting for the busy season. I'm hoping in January, mid to late January, that we kind of get back to how it was this summer, because it has slowed down quite a bit. But me being the way that I run, according to Tim, there's not very many of us that like running these long hauls like this, except me and maybe a handful of other guys. So I guess I'd say if you come on board and you find that you're struggling to do like doing the short hauls and you're not quite hitting where you want to go, bite the bullet, man, and just stay out for a month. Run the coast to coast stuff, because it pays. It pays big time. I know for a fact that Tim and I, whenever we end up in Texas, doesn't really matter where, usually Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Austin area, we could pick up loads that turn around and go right back to the California state line, or right back to LA, paying $5,000-$6,000, and you can do that in a couple days, and then turn around and bring something else back out, and you've got $7,000-$8,000 a week. All you got to do is watch your fuel. I mean, it sucks being gone. Obviously, I'd love to be home. You know, I've got my daughter at home, but luckily, you know, my saving grace at this point is she's young enough to where she's never going to remember any of this. So I'm kind of using that to my advantage. Obviously, I'd love to be home and watch her grow up, but I can't have my cake and eat it too. And my wife got laid off. She was a nurse, but the hospital that she worked for decided to kick a bunch of them to the curb, which made no sense at all. And before that happened, the hospital decided that they weren't going to get the raises this year due to COVID, even though they're getting all the fucking government's money funding them. So it's pretty pathetic, but nonetheless, she's at home with the baby, which is what she wanted anyways. So it's all kind of on me, which we're doing just fine, just peachy. But yeah, I'll get back to, I'm going to start doing, when I get my settlements, I'll do them every week, so you guys can see consistent, up-to-date, kind of like how things are going out here. And if something comes up in the statements that isn't there normally, I'll explain that and all that. Yeah, if there's anything you guys can think of that you want me to talk about, because I'm not the most creative person in the world, but I'm trying to find things that every other truck driver that has a YouTube channel doesn't really talk about, because then it just gets very repetitive, and I don't want to do that necessarily unless that's something you guys want to see. If that's the case, comment and let me know. I'll do it. I don't care. I got nothing but time, especially on these long hauls. I have all the time in the world to do this stuff, and I want to do it. I need a hobby other than driving this damn thing. You know, and staring out a window and watching the world go by. In my downtime, when I'm not driving, I'd like to be shooting videos or answering some of y'all's questions when I can, and that's something I would really like to do. So, if you guys can think of anything you want to know, something about Nova, whether it be pay, maintenance, or how orientation went. I know we got a new guy that runs our shop now. The old one retired, as far as from what I understand. And yeah, so if you guys like the video, like it, comment on it, subscribe if you want to stay in tune with this. That'd be greatly appreciated. Other than that, you guys have a good one and keep it between the lines.